Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about an engineer's mindset. And there's two reasons for that. One is because it's something that can help you to be incredibly successful, especially if you're in a technical career, but also pretty much any career this can help you out. Another reason is that I think it's something a lot of us have within us, and we've sort of just walled it off for one reason or another, and I'm going to go over that. So first, what is it? Well, see that little box behind me? I engineered that. What I basically did was I have a 3D printer. I learned how to use it over time, and I finally decided, well, I want to make my own sort of thing. And so I did. I got a little simple CAD program called Tinkercad. It's actually on the internet. Anyone can use it. I learned as I went, and I had to figure out how can I successfully make this. So there were challenges that came up. I thought it would be just as easy as I go into Tinkercad, I draw it up, I put it in the printer, and it's there and I'm done. It's never that easy. Whenever you're dealing with a problem that you're trying to solve, or you're just trying to build something, it's just never going to be as easy as you may have originally thought. But that's okay. That's part of the engineering mindset. If you want to be like me, go into it head on thinking it's going to be easy. I honestly, that is what I do. Because once I realize there's challenges, I feel very motivated to actually accomplish what I set out to, regardless of those challenges. So some of the challenges that came up were, I can't just print this all at one time. It has letters in it. How is the printer going layer by layer going to deal with some of our lettering? And things will just fall off at certain points. So I had to rethink the geometry of it a little bit. You may be able to notice, I'm not sure, but I had to connect some things in some letters because, say, in the letter E, there's a circle in there that's just floating. So that's not going to work out if I try to actually physically make it, unless I had, some kind of neon light thing, which I don't. So, I dealt with that. And then another problem, I was using LEDs, and LEDs are little tiny diodes, and I noticed when I put the LEDs in there, people just see a whole ton of little dots coming through the letters. That's not what I want. So went out, bought some wax paper, taped it over it, and now you go. I think the final product looks pretty good. So that is sort of the engineering mindset, is that you had an idea or a task or a problem, and you went at that kind of knowing what your end goal was. And as you faced challenges, you took them one at a time. You solved one problem at a time until you get where you want to be. And this is incredibly helpful because when you're, say, in college and you get an assignment, some of these assignments are going to be super overwhelming. But if you can just look at, this is what I need to do, this is what the professor wants, and go at it head on and solve each problem one after another, and think outside of the box a little bit, like I did with wax paper. Think of other ways to solve it. The sky is kind of the limit in most cases, as long as you're not cheating. Find ways to solve the problem. That's basically one thing that really goes into that mindset. That is something that is going to help you in real life, and not just to get a job out of college, but to be successful in a job in college. So I really want to talk about, though, what do I think walls people off from this? One of the biggest things, and I hate to say this, is help. Going, to people for help. Now, that's not to say never get help from anyone, but a thing that tends to happen to people, it's happened to me before, and I know I've been that person for someone else, is you have a problem, you're overwhelmed, and you go to someone else for help, and they do it for you. For an engineer's mindset, that is the worst thing that can happen to you, because now you haven't learned anything. You don't actually know how to do what you just did. You can't really honestly put that on your resume, although, I probably still would. You're gonna feel weird about it because you feel like, well, really, I did a little bit and then I talked to this other person and they helped me, and I didn't really do it and I don't really know. And that's kind of a hard thing to avoid. You have to avoid that. If you're going to go for help, which is okay, it is definitely okay to go for help with the 3D printing stuff. I can tell you, I ask my brother, who has been doing it a lot longer than me, for a lot of advice, but the main thing is that you do the work. and you make sure that you understand it and that you can sort of reverse engineer it if you have to. Now, that's hard to do when someone's helping you sometimes, because a lot of people are very helpful and sometimes they just love what they're helping you with and they just want to go and do it all themselves. Now, it's important that you try to not allow them to do that, that you need to walk away not only with the product that you had in mind, but with the understanding of how to do it again if you need to. Because if you're going to work, doing something, you're going to need to know how to do it. You're not going to be able to call them every time. They're eventually going to want some compensation. And I can tell you that that's not going to work out for you financially. So another thing that walls us off from it is seen as a bit obsessive. And it is a bit obsessive because you have a problem and you thought it was easy and you go into it and it wasn't that easy. And it turns out a lot of times that you're spending a lot more time on this than you as a normal, reasonable person had planned to. And sometimes this makes you feel obsessive or even look obsessive. But that's okay. You have to kind of be okay with that and realize that it's not a bad thing that you're doing this. Even for this little box, I didn't feel like it was bad when I was doing it. I was the same way in college, and I would be like that about my assignments. And I didn't really feel as bad then because, I'm a college student. That's my kind of job, is to get a good grade on the assignment. But I definitely felt like I was a little bit of a spaz. And whatever, that's okay. A third thing, and I hope this isn't a big thing for too many people, but you might not feel like you fit the bill. You don't consider yourself like an engineer. And you don't really like the idea of kind of, building your own things. Like, that is sort of a thing that I want you to think past, that you don't have to have a pocket protector and, a nice set of glasses to call yourself an engineer. Honestly, there are engineers of all different types. And that's a thing that I really don't want people to think, is that because of some type of your demographic, it just doesn't fit you. Because it's really about what's going on in here. It's not about anything else. It's about solving that problem. All right, guys, I hope this helps. If you like this, give me a like. And subscribe if you really like it. Have a good night.